What's up, guys? Welcome to the Athlete Conversation. This is your host and athlete, Conrado Duhour, and today with me I have my very good friend, Timo. How do you say your last name, Timo?
Hummrich.
Hummrich. He's from Germany. So, Timo, where are you from? How old are you? And what school do you play for?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, bro.
I am 23 years old, a grad student at Fordham right now, originally from Germany. I came here for my undergrad. First went to Delaware.
For your postgrad.
Yeah.
You came to the US for your
yes,
undergrad.
US,
Absolutely,
yeah.
yes.
Came to the US, first went to Delaware, transferred to SMU about 1.5 years in, and then came to Fordham for my master's.
Okay. And why did you transfer so much? Was it a matter of you were just looking for a better team or your career? What was it? Was it soccer or was it your career?
The first transfer from Delaware to SMU was both academically and athletically motivated, I'd say.
Okay.
It was just a better school and also had a better academic program, more athletic program. And so, yeah, that's ultimately the decision that I made there.
Okay.
And then my second transfer didn't really align with the coaching staff there. I think wasn't just a great fit. And then, yeah, I transferred here. Always loved New York, so I was happy that I got the chance to study here, play soccer, and, yeah, experience the city.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming to New York is beautiful. I love New York personally. But guide me through when you first started playing, right? And when did you decide that you wanted to come to the US and how did that transition go?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I went to an all-athletes high school. And
wow, wait. An all athletes high school, how does that work? Is that a thing in Germany?
It's in certain regions, they have all-athlete high schools. Primarily now the academies, some of the best academies in Germany kind of have their own high school or coordinate with a high school to, yeah.
So like Bayern Munich has their own school for their academy players?
Bayern Munich, but they all kind of sent their people into like the same
area.
The same school to be able to train during the day and then also at night. So usually my day would look like that. I had training at 10, then had school until like 5 or 3:45, 5 somewhere there, and then training at 5:30. So yeah, kind of all day was booked.
So did you play at an academy over there?
Yeah, I played for Hertha Berlin, then went to, like I said, this all athlete high school. I think I played for them for eight years until after the U19. So I went to this all athlete high school, and we had a water polo kid come over from the US, and he told me about all these great opportunities to study and play soccer here in the US, get it financed as well. And that was not possible in the way that it is here in Germany, because either you commit yourself to playing soccer or you're like going that academic route. And so, yeah, for me, it was an easy decision because I always loved the US. I always wanted to come here and study. And yeah, then ever since that conversation in about 10th grade, I kind of started,
10th grade is the same as here. It's like your sophomore year. So we have 10th, 11th, and 12th over there.
Well, for us it was different because the last 3 years, so 11th and 12th grade, was because it was an all athletes high school and we had so much practice, it was stretched out to 3 years. So at the end, or was it maybe 11th year? So I had 2 years to kind of decide whether I want to pursue that route and kind of which school I want to go to. So yeah, I started reaching out to an agency. They connected me to multiple schools, and at the end, I decided to go to Delaware.
You decided to come to Delaware. And how do you think that agency helped you in the process of deciding whether you wanted to come to the US or not? Because I feel like you mentioned that soccer, you went to an all-athlete school. So soccer has been a big part of your life since you were like a little kid, right? So I bet you dreamt of going the pro route and becoming a professional player. And eventually, once you decided that you wanted to come to the US, right? How was that transition with your agent? How did they help you out? How did they guide you through the process?
It was really extremely helpful to have an agency because it was so unknown, the entire system to kind of navigate through everything. So it was really helpful to have someone to hold my hand and guide me through the entire process. So starting off with connecting me to coaches and really just telling me what the kind of the process would look like, connecting me to the coaches, and helping me with all the small things like visa, everything else. It's so many things that you don't consider that actually go into it, where an agency can be really, really useful to guide you through the entire process. And then even after I went over to the US, we still have regular chats of how I was doing, if I liked it, and if they could help me in any other way. So it was, yeah,
It was very helpful.
Yeah, it was definitely the best decision that I to go with an agency to come to the US.
And on that note, as you know, I work with International Doorway, and we actually share the same philosophy pretty much. We bring in international students. I'm an international student as well. I was born in Argentina. My dad was an international student as well. He played baseball in college, and we kind of saw the opportunity to give these kids, as international students who want to come to US and explore the opportunity. We like to give them this opportunity to bring them. We actually have a showcase. It's once a year in Miami, Florida International University, from the 7th. This year it will be from the 7th to the 14th, and we're hoping to have a lot of German students join us, Spanish students join us, a few from France, and mainly as well Latin America. So we see it the same eye to eye. From this agency, from International Doorway, which is more of an organization, that's how we like to call ourselves. I was able to come to Fordham, and eventually this is how we met, right?
Yeah.
But describe to me what the differences are, right, between Delaware, SMU, and Fordham, right? Because they're very different schools from very different areas, and I bet the social life was also very different. So talk about the social life a little bit, and the soccer too.
Yeah, no, definitely. So let me paint you a picture. So Delaware was a college town with Main Street, and which had 3 bars, a couple of restaurants, and 1 Walgreens, and that was about the only thing that was there.
And how was it compared to what part of Germany you're from?
Berlin. So
Berlin.
I'm from a big city.
Okay.
With I think now 3.5 million inhabitants. So
that was a big change.
It was definitely a big change. I just like the values that the coaching staff kind of try to teach the team. Really like family values, and just being a team. So that was in the end why I decided to come to Delaware, because I just really liked the coaching staff, and the team as well was a couple of great guys. And then Dallas was very different in terms of that. It was a big city, and I just missed that. That was also another reason why I transferred from Delaware to SMU, because I just missed the big city. There was not a lot to do at the Delaware. So SMU was a big change. I really liked the city. I really liked the team. And in terms of soccer, it was a lot more kind of what the European style would look like.
So more possession-based.
Exactly. Okay. A lot more possession-based, very, very talented people. I think a lot of them are drafted now or pursue like the professional path. And it was a great way to also get scouted from professional players. Like for example, we played the Dallas FC, the second team, in the Dallas FC stadium right after the first team played. So we still played in front of multiple thousands of people. So that exposure was really memorable to me when it comes to SMU. And then coming to Fordham, obviously, like I said, I love the United States. I love New York City, especially. I think
New York City is different, right? It's just a completely different experience.
Definitely, it's still my favorite city in the world, I'd say.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yeah.
Compared to Berlin, yeah. I've never been to Berlin, so I don't know.
Yeah, you should go.
But I love New York. I'll tell you that.
So Fordham is also a very big change again, because the city is bigger. The soccer is a little bit more direct. We play on turf, or we played on grass at SMU. And I always say it, I think I love the guys that play here with the most out of all the teams that I've played with. And
thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. So that was also one of the most, one of the biggest motivators for me to kind of decide on Fordham.
Okay. And I think you just made up a very good point. You transferred 3 times. Yeah. And a lot of the kids that come from out of the States or even in the States, they don't know that they have the option to transfer out and go anywhere they want after coming, right? So once you choose to come to US and you go to a school, right? You go to whatever school, you can play there for a year, do really well if you work your butt off. If you work your butt off, you can do really well. And the fact that you did well opens up other options, right? So if you're not happy at a school, you're not tied to that school. You can literally go to any other school, any other option they have. There's a transfer portal here. So it's not really, you're not committing to university 4 years. right?
Yeah.
Your experience can change throughout the years, and you can go to this school one year, then move to the other school. So that option is always there if you're unhappy. That's the beauty also about the system here in the US, right? Because you can go into many schools and experience many different opportunities and meet people from all over the world without having to be at one school for 4 years.
Exactly.
But now that you've played in 3 different teams, right? What makes a winning team?
That is a great question.
That's a good question, no?
I'd say definitely you have to be talented. You have to have a talented team, because if you don't, then nothing else can kind of bring it together. But then I'd say your commitment to the team and how hard you work, how willing you are to kind of buy into the team's philosophy and dedicate like your time and your energy towards that team and kind of to succeeding in being successful. I think that's also a very big part in in being successful, in building a team culture that is winning.
Okay, and as a leader, because you were a leader, I'm assuming at pretty much every team you've been. I know you're a leader at Fordham, right? People look up to you, one of the oldest ones as well. But at SMU, you were a leader as well, right? So what are the qualities of a leader that you think are important to have within a team?
Well, yeah. First of all, I was more of a leader at Delaware, maybe Fordham, we'll see. But
oh, really? At Delaware?
I was
even as a freshman coming in?
After my freshman semester, I got named captain at Delaware.
Wow.
Had that role until I transferred. And I'd say what makes me a good leader is kind of being a person, like you said, that people can look up to, kind of leading by example. And really showing other people, especially the younger ones, the freshmen that are just coming in, what kind of culture you want in a team and where you want the team to go, kind of.
Absolutely. And do you accomplish that off the field, on the field, or both?
I think it's more on the field, but also you can't neglect the off the field component as well.
A little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to, when it comes to recovery, just sleep, all the things that are important to soccer and to athletics in general. I think you need to have some level of professionalism to be successful as well. So it's not always on the field, but also off the field.
Okay, so there are certain habits obviously that you need to take into account for as a student athlete, right? You can't really be going out all the time and doing dumb stuff, right? But it's a fact that in college, right, as an athlete, you do get to have a lot of fun as well, right? It's not all about grind, which is also something that's beautiful about the opportunity, I would say. So in your case, right, how do you think, I mean, you've never been a regular student, but how do you think the social life changes from being a regular student to being a student athlete, right? You have games on the weekends, you have games on Fridays. How do you balance that? How do you balance being a student athlete, and a social animal per se?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you definitely can't neglect the social part of it. It's extremely important to have an area where you can kind of turn your brain off a little bit and not always have to think about soccer or school. Like, you need something to pursue as well, if that's just meeting friends or going out to parties, meeting new people in general. I think that's really important as well, because that's a huge part of college life. And so I think as an athlete, the only difference is that you have to a regular student is that you have to manage your time more wisely, because you need to kind of fit all these three things, like athletics, academics, and also your social life, into kind of the time that you can spend. And so I'm very happy that I think I found a good balance of how to kind of put all of these three things into one, together, and then pursue all of the three things. I mean, the people I've met here, I'm extremely grateful for. And so
yeah, absolutely. I think it's also important to know that you can, if you make the commitment to be an athlete, right, especially at a high level Division 1 school, even D2, D3. I feel like it's the same level of professionalism, right?
Yeah.
In every division that you play in, you need to be very professional, and you can't really go crazy on the weekends. But you can have your own fun. You know what I mean? You're gonna meet people from all over the world, because in most colleges in the U.S. there's a lot of international students, right? So you might become friends with someone who's not even an athlete, and you'll see how your life differs from them. But I think, and I also mentioned this in one of my previous episodes, being an athlete kind of gives you that extra edge for what comes after in life, right? Definitely. So you got to be committed to the sport. You got to be there on time. You develop consistency, discipline, and those are all very important qualities that you need to carry forward after college, right? So how do you think being a college athlete and being part of all these teams that you've been a part of, how do you think that will help you for your future? Because like you said, you're studying finance now, and you want to eventually go to Wall Street, or what's your plan with that?
Yeah.
So what's your plan, and how do you think the qualities will help you get to your goals?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'm studying finance right now, and I'm hoping to get a role either to break in anywhere in the finance world, whether that's investment banking or equity research, maybe also into consulting. Not really made my mind up yet to applying to a lot of things, but definitely like the things that you learn from athletics can really help you. If it's perseverance, if you go through a hard workout and in a job, maybe you have to be in the office for, I don't know, until 2-3 a.m. at some nights. So that really helps you.
That depends on the job.
That depends on the job. Yeah, that's true. But on the some of the aspects that you just have you're more prepared for the life or what comes after college, I would say, than a regular student, because you've gone through all this hardship, whether that's an injury, whether that's just getting through a lift or getting through a conditioning session. It really builds your character so that you can pursue a career and be very prepared for maybe some obstacles that come up in your career than another student.
And in life as well, right?
Yeah, and in life as well, definitely.
So let me ask you a bit about, it's not a tricky question, right? But what's your definition of a winner's mindset?
Of a winner's mindset? What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
What's the definition of being a winner for you in your life? Okay. Right? So winning. What does winning mean in your life, other than championships in your life, right?
I think for me, it's being content with like the life I've led, not having a lot of regrets at the end of like things that I wanted to try and that I didn't get to try, or just being happy with how my path has turned out to be. And so far with 3 schools, I've managed to really get the most out of my experience in the US, and hopefully it'll continue. But if I happen to not pursue a career in the US and go back to Germany, I can say that I've really kind of explored the US, met a bunch of fantastic people, and can be happy with that. So I think that is, for me at least, looking back or looking forward and kind of setting yourself the goals that you want to achieve, and then also being content with the path that you've chosen.
So taking the chance, right? Taking the risk of going after what you want, right?
Yeah,
but I also think that you have qualities that have allowed you to succeed regardless of the place that you've been. You know what I mean? So that quality that made you take the risk is the same quality that went to Delaware, made you win Defensive Player of the Year, right? Made you captain, and then go to SMU, have a successful run there, and then eventually go to Fordham and be successful at Fordham, right? So what are those qualities that you think make a successful player, athlete, and winner in life, right?
I mean, like you said, you have to take a chance. Play
so
risky.
Risk taker.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be at some
taker.
point. You have to be. I think for me, the most important thing is confidence, because if you don't play with confidence, you're not playing the same. It's completely different whether you play with it or not. And you have to take chances, because in the end, if coaches are watching and you play a game, they only remember the outstanding things that you've done, and not whether you've they care if you like performed solidly, but the things that are stuck in their mind are the extravagant things that you do, and like the extraordinary things that you can do with a soccer ball, or different things that you might be that might be your strength. So whether that's speed or having a great shot, or defending, blocking the ball, whatever your strength might be, at the end they have that in mind. So I think that's also a very, very important thing. And then with that, building up on that, I think consistency as well
It's key, right?
is key. Exactly. You need to know when to take the risk, but then also need to know when to be consistent, when to maybe, take a step back, where to take risks on the field. And I think if you can do all of those, then
you're set.
I think that's you're set.
I think also you brought up confidence, and I think confidence is probably the most important aspect, right? Yeah. So obviously knowing what the right decision is important. Knowing when to take a risk, when to not take a risk, how to defend, how to pass the ball, all the basics you need to have them unlocked, right? Yeah. But even if you're a great player, if you're struggling with confidence, you will struggle on the field. Yeah. Right. So how do you think you build your confidence on the college team as a college athlete? So how do you come in as a freshman, let's say, and you did great your freshman year at Delaware, right? Yeah. How did you build up that confidence? Was it the coaches that helped you out? Was it your teammates? You know what I mean? So what brought that confidence out in you, coming out as, something new? It's a new experience. You didn't even know what you're doing, and you came in and you balled out. Yeah,
no, definitely. So first I want to say that it is, coaches they can always see whether you play with confidence and whether you're trying to do something going forward, or whether you play conservatively and are afraid to make mistakes. That they can very clearly see which path you've chosen, and it is extremely important to play with confidence and try to make something happen. If you're self-conscious about the way that you play and afraid to make mistakes, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for someone that can make plays and be successful. And then, building up on that.
How do you get to a point?
Building up on that. I think for me, it's maybe going out and just knowing how to do the basic things right. Going out and passing a ball 1,000 times, dribbling, which is not my strong suit, but
yes, it is. Yes, you've had a lot of success dribbling this year. That's a fact.
Whatever is required in your position, being very confident in the basic skills that are required for that position, for you to be successful in that position, and kind of setting you up to show when a coach is watching that you have those unlocked, that you can pass, that you can defend, that you can score, whatever that might be. I think that's very important. And then if you know that you have strong basics, then the rest is going to come. Then you're confident in yourself that you can do the easy things right, and then you're trying to do the more complicated things. Okay.
So, and this is, I 100% agree with what you just said. Basically, how do you build confidence? By repetition. Yeah. So by doing something many times. Yeah. And a common factor from everyone that I've talked to, every college athlete, every professional athlete, anyone playing at a high level, even beyond athletics, everyone who's successful in a business and whatever they're doing, it's all about repetition, man. It's about doing the easy things a lot of times, right?
100%.
So for me, for example, as I was growing up, I've never been the most skillful player, right? I'm a center back. You were a center back as well, right? But now you're an outside back, and possibly next year you're a winger. So we'll see. You're a bit of the full package. But me growing up, I was never the guy who would give the ball to create something and score a banger, right? I was always the hard worker. And when I was 12 or 13, man, I was not good on the ball. One of my coaches took a chance on me back when I moved from Argentina to Miami, and he saw that I would play with balls. Like I would go into every tackle, but then I couldn't pass the ball. So what I did was every single day from high school until I went to college, until I went to Spain actually, I just grabbed the ball and I found the wall. Yeah. And I just hit the ball to the wall. Boom, boom, boom. That I would get like 500 touches a day. And eventually, obviously, that's a grind. But I feel like if you can fall in love with the extra work, then you'll be fine, right? So if you can find a way of falling in love with doing the tedious work, so if you find something that you're good at, and you can find a way to like that and just do it consistently, I think that's what's going to take you to the next level, right? 100%. And going from that, speaking of the next level, did you ever think you wanted to play at the MLS here, or were you always certain that you came to the US for an education and you just wanted to make the jump to the finance world? Or is the possibility of playing in the MLS still alive for you?
Definitely when I came over, all my life, I started playing for the academy in Germany when I was 10 years old. Even I started training with them, I think when I was 9 or 8 years old. So that has always been a huge dream of mine to make it professionally and kind of pursue that path. And then when I came to the US, I still had the same vision. In the summer of my freshman year, I played USL2, trained with the second team of the Philadelphia Union, and kind of tried to still pursue to make that dream reality. Then had some conversations with the coaches there, and kind of the kind of picture that I'm getting is that you have to be young to come over and then make it basically within your first couple of years for you to have really a shot at playing professional here, which doesn't mean that I have given up on that dream, but I've refocused a little bit to more of the educational side at this point now. I mean, I'm 23 years old. There is not a lot of players at my age that make it still professionally. The most of the players sign when they're like 18 to 21 maybe, and kind of shifted my focus a little bit to kind of pursue the education stuff a little
part
more. But
and then
we'll see what's happening.
We'll see. You never know what's gonna happen. Maybe next year you'll score 10 goals, and maybe someone will want you. But the truth is that's also the beauty about the US. And I say this all the time, right? You can come in to the US from anywhere in the world, even if you're a local student. You come in to play soccer, football, tennis, whatever sport you want to play. You can play at a very competitive level. And that possibility of going to the next level is still there. You can still be a professional soccer player or tennis player. Or tennis is a little bit trickier though. But soccer, for example, and the NBA, a lot of kids get scouted from college to go to NBA, right? I mean, not a lot. It's a very small percentage. But the truth is that possibility is still there, right? And that's what I keep saying. I mean, if you have the ambition of playing professionally. And you come to US and you play really well, obviously that's never a guarantee, right? Making it to the next level, you tell me, what are the qualities? Because for me, if you ask me what are the qualities that you need to make it to the next level, I think you need to have a bit of luck. I think you need to do things well. I think you need to be a professional on and off the field. So if you come to US with the dream of making it to the next level, you have to be a professional before you even become a professional. Right, but would you agree with that, or what would you add to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I played in Germany, I trained with the first team once or twice, and
how was that?
It was definitely different. I can tell you, it's the speed of play was for me at least the most. The biggest difference to kind of the game that we played as in the youth leagues, and then also kind of compared to the US. Soccer is. It was
very different.
It was a lot faster, and there's just the decision making. The margin of error was a lot smaller. So if you had one bad touch, there was someone there to kind of get the ball from you. So consistency, like we already talked about, consistency is key. Being consistent in the basics that you can do, and then also having a very fast mind and being able to make decisions very quickly is, I think, what I've gotten from that.
Those are the qualities that you need to jump.
That they had, but I completely agree with you. You have to be professional about how you manage your time, everything around the soccer part, but then also off the field, whether that's recovery, eating, sleeping, looking out for what you do in your social life as well.
Going out,
exactly.
Yes.
You have to be very mindful of when the right decisions are for you to let loose a little bit, but also then when maybe not to, go out or
you have to choose your moments.
Exactly. Focus on getting some sleep or whatever.
But I definitely agree that is having that quickness in the mind, knowing what you're gonna do before you get the ball is massive, because that quickness that you have in your mind at the next level combines all of the other aspects, right? It combines your technique, combines your touch, it combines your passing ability, right? Because if you have all that on lock, then you get the ball from the right side, you already know you're going to open up your hips and give the other center back the ball, or play a diagonal ball. If you already know you're going to do that, it's automatic. You already have the touch, you take a touch, boom, you bang it in across the field, right? But now that you mentioned your academy and having trained with the first team, right? What do you think, other than speed of play, right? What's the difference between the academy level and the first team, and then the academy and college and the first team and college, right? So how do those three differ from each other?
I mean, I think you can't really compare first team level compared to college. It's not comparable, because it's just a different style of play, different
different size on the players as well? Are they skinnier over there? Are they bigger?
Well, it depends on the person. Team, right? Especially in the US, I feel like coaches really like very built players and players that, that are built, especially
athletic.
in the attack. Athletic, that's a good way to describe it. That can run. They don't really not that they don't like smaller players, but I think that smaller players, especially in the middle of the field, when it comes to strikers or center backs, they're looking for very built players that are fast, and looking at the physical attributes first compared to maybe some of the playmaking attributes second, and then comparing the youth level in Germany with the college level here in the US. I'd say that in Germany, it's a lot more focused on the educational part of soccer, especially because that's what the youth level is for, right?
Of soccer,
okay. Exactly. To educate your players, allowing mistakes, and even though not really allowing mistakes, but
it's okay to mess up.
Exactly. Whereas here, it's a lot. You don't get that same level of mistakes that you can make compared to Germany. And here the focus is to be successful in soccer. Whereas in Germany, it was more on education of how to play soccer, what kind of runs to make. And in that way, the US is maybe a little bit more close to the professional level in terms of like mindset of winning is the most important thing. Whereas in Germany, it's like, can you show me what I want from you as a coach, from the coaching perspective. But then I'd also say that technically it is pretty similar, even though in Germany it's a lot more kind of the European style where you play small passes and possession, very possession based, whereas in the US, even though it's changing now, it's still a little bit more focused on direct play and getting the ball into dangerous spots and then kind of scoring from that and taking your chances from.
But that also varies from team to team, right? Because we played. I mean, maybe has that been the same for all three teams that you played in?
Not really. I'd say that SMU was definitely a little
more
bit more
playmaking
on the playmaking side, exactly. And then Fordham is a little bit more of a direct style of play.
We try to be more dangerous.
Exactly, it depends on kind of the opponent that we play. That in other games, on some games we play a little bit more possession, and in others where we're pressed, we play a little bit more direct. But it kind of depends at Fordham. And at Delaware, it was kind of a mix. In my first year, it was possession based. In the second year, it was a little bit more direct. So it all depends on kind of the team that you have, because it's always changing, right? In academy, especially in Germany, you play with the same guys for in my case 8 years, and here you always have a new recruiting class coming in. The older guys are leaving, so it's kind of you have a very different team year from year, like year to year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to take note of, like we said, every team in the US, even in the college level, is very different, right? So I've never played. I almost went to a D3 school, actually. I mean, I didn't almost go, but I thought about maybe when I was a junior in high school. Actually, I was exploring my options, and I talked to Babson for a bit as well when I was deciding where to go. And although they're a D3 school, the level of play is actually very high as well.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not only Division 1 in college athletics, right? Every D1, D2, and D3, they have their differences, but it's all a very high level, and it just depends on the philosophy of coaching and what the coaches are looking to do.
Definitely.
Right.
I have something to add there. When I was playing my freshman year in USL2, I've played with almost all of them were D2, D3. We had a couple of D1 guys, but really, and we were a really successful team. We went to the final of the national championship, and it was, you couldn't tell difference. Like, some of the best players play in D2, D3.
Exactly.
Maybe they decide to go there, or maybe they have some problems with eligibility because they've played at a certain level where they're coming from. So that's also kind of where they're going. There's also different leagues and colleges. There is where, you might have an easier time if you have played at a certain level in your home country, where it's easier to kind of get that eligibility to play.
Absolutely. So that's a very good point. The level is high at any division in the United States. Before we end, because we have to end now, but let me know what would your advice be to someone who's looking to come into the U.S. Maybe they're from Germany, from Spain, or from Latin America, and they're looking to come to the U.S. What would your advice be?
Definitely, I'd say first of all you need to starting off as soon as possible is key, because you don't need to, but it gives you just a lot more time to kind of figure out your options and commit to a school that's actually a good fit for you. And then also, if you're deciding, you should be certain that you want to come here, because if you're unsure and then ending up coming to the US and then not liking it, you can go back, but you might not have a great time for whatever time frame you're staying here, if that's a semester, a year, or whether you decide to go home after the first 2 weeks, who knows. So you need to be certain about the way, kind of, if whether you're really committed to coming to the US, and then also, just
and give it time too. Obviously, once you
exactly.
come here, you need to give yourself time to adapt and see where it goes, and see if it's truly what you want to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you might not like the first years, you don't play as much, but eventually you'll get your chance. Like I always say, maybe not as a freshman, maybe as a sophomore, maybe as a junior, maybe you're a senior, you play the entire season, right?
Yeah.
So it just really depends on the person who's willing to take that chance and who's willing to experience something new.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's also usually a certain type of person that comes to, like, takes that risk, like what we talked about. It's people that take risk and kind of play from that. Yeah,
winners.
Exactly. It's those types of people that kind of end up deciding to come to the US, because other people that might be a little bit more unsure of themselves, unsure about the entire situation, they wouldn't put themselves into this situation.
Yeah.
So I feel like I always meet people from other countries that kind of have a similar personality, and
Absolutely. And on that note, I think coming to the US and taking that chance attracts like-minded people and people who have the same values, people who like to win, and people who like to take risk, and that's how I personally believe you evolve in life, right? By taking risk and by being consistent and by not letting the negative things, maybe someone says something on the team, you can't let that affect you, right? Yeah. By always moving forward and keeping a positive mindset. That's why I'm so glad that I met my teammates, and obviously we're very good friends, and we all have the same values, right? We like to win, and we like to give the best version of ourselves out there, right? Yeah. And on that note, thank you very much for joining me, and I wish you the best, my brother.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Say hi to the camera. Thank you guys for listening, and love you, my G.
Love you too.